Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to United Lens. Tomorrow night, Manchester United and Leeds walk out at Croke Park in Dublin, and I don't care what the fixture list calls it, because there are two clubs meet. There is no such thing as a friendly. We're talking also sell-out crowd, one of the biggest stadiums in Europe, Red Rose against White Rose, and Leeds had got something over us as well. Last season, we drew 1-1 at Ellen Road, and they came to Old Trafford and beat us 2-1. So for Michael Carrick, yes, this is pre-season, but there's still a response required in my eyes. Before we get into it, if you are new to United Lens, hit the subscribe button. We're building something here around proper football conversation, tactical breakdowns, and looking at Manchester United through a coach's lens. So subscribe, get involved in the chat, and tell me your starting 11. Because tonight, we've got plenty to get into, right? United are unbeaten in three since that opening defeat to Wrexham. Leeds have won 3 on the bounce, including 4 against Liverpool and a clean sheet, winning over Leipzig, which are no mean feats. And Carrick suddenly has more decisions to make. Cunha, Mainu, Rashford, even De Ligt have joined the group. Martinez is back around the squad, but, Mbumo's flying and, competing for places is starting to get serious. What does Carrick do? Who starts? And tactically, what do you need to see tomorrow night? Manchester United Leeds, no such thing as a friendly, so let's get into it. Straight away in the chat, I see Danny, Dave, Ramo. Good evening, guys. Welcome to you. And I'm sure you all agree about this not being just a normal game, right? These games against Leeds last season were woeful. We got destroyed at Old Trafford. Says 2-1, but they were all over us. I mean, Calvert-Lewin hit the post. Literally, they were coming at us from everywhere. Haas, evening to you, my man. No, Sesko he travelled. He's training, but he is not available. Don't expect to see him till a couple of games into the start of the season. It's getting a little bit... It's getting rather annoying, to be honest. We've only got one main striker, and he's never fit. But, he's fitting in well with the team, really, isn't he? This game, like I say, if you look at it in certain ways, we all know that we are the bigger, better team. But there's just something about Leeds United which really, I've got to admit, really presses my buttons when it comes to playing them recently. We talked about mentality and being up for the fight, the lack of intensity in the warm-up, being slow starters, conceding early. The list goes on. And these friendlies haven't really shown us that. So for me, it's the must-have thing we've got to do right at the very start of the game is be in it. Not waiting to be tested, waiting to concede like we did against PSG, only took 2 minutes. Those sort of thing. Tyrone, evening, sir. This is more than a game, isn't it? Like if you are Manchester born and bred, you've grown up on War of the Roses, Lancashire versus Yorkshire. Wednesday night, 7:30. Weird enough, in Dublin, 82,000 people approximately in a sold-out crowd. And it's so big, let's be honest, it's so big that it's been put out on ITV, and STV, which is pretty unheard of for a Man United friendly to get on domestic TV. MUTV will be covering it, LUTV, whoever the fuck that is, will be covering it. And yes, I know it's Leeds United, but you know what I mean. Are they big enough to have a TV channel? Our next game after this is AC Milan, and that's in a weird way, probably even bigger. You know, Leeds play Augsburg, so they're gonna. This is their last big test. We've got a bigger one to come against Amarin. So, 7:30 kickoff seemed a bit weird in Ireland. 7:30 because I don't know if people are aware we've got a solar eclipse tomorrow night, so I'm not quite sure what time it is, and I'm sure that's going to happen. But I suppose floodlights are on. Um, where do you want to start? That's my thing to you, chat. I can see you all coming in. Bilal's in the house now, guys. Make sure you're all smashing the like. Everyone who's in the chat. Um, the way I see it, right? We lost to Wrexham. We come out. We survived the game against Rosenborg. Okay, it was a 5-0 win, but they were putting in some pretty hefty tackles. Atletico Madrid, dark arts. Somehow we came through it in the second half. I suppose we had the better youngsters. And PSG. PSG 1-1. I'll just keep looking at a piece of paper that says we drew with the European champions. Don't need to know who was and wasn't playing and how many minutes they got. But, for Carrick, they seem to be learning. They seem to be playing different styles of football. I talked about in one game we were doing a 4-man press against PSG. It seemed like it was only 3 of us pressing. And then we were picking the second balls up. Now, whether that was because Mason Mount went off, still unsure if he even makes the bench tomorrow night. It's quite big. It's quite big changes. The defence is quite being stable throughout. I think Sammy Lemons comes in tomorrow with Heaton picking up the hamstring injury. I can't really see Carrick going, yeah, we'll start Ben Mee against Leeds. Doesn't quite do it for me. Darlow's injured. And if we can't start Mee, we're not going to... We didn't call up the youngster that we just signed for the 21s. Is Margetson, I think it is. Or Maggetson or something like that. So I think Lemons plays. Whether he gets 45 minutes, which he should, that'll be good. I think... Or I hope... You can see I put my team up behind me. And I've deliberately done a 4-4-1-1 formation because I think we're going to do something a little bit different again against Leeds because of the way Leeds play. What I've noticed in these friendlies so far, with the exception of Wrexham, which is just the first training match, we've started doing different formations for different kind of tactics. Be it, no one's going to be playing a low block, but tomorrow night's going to be no different. Leeds are a high intensity, high pressing, counter-attacking team, sit in a low block. But when they come at you with pace. And that's how they really hurt us last year. We just didn't match the energy. So I feel that we might do a 4-4 block and counter-attack. So you might see either Ahmad or Mbeumo out wide with... Dorgu starting on the left. He could mix it up. He could start Rashford. I've deliberately swapped mine I think we might play inverted tomorrow. I think we need to look at something a little bit different. This is what I do, right? This is how I look at Manchester United. It's not about putting the same lineup out all the time. We signed Dorgu as a right-sided right attacker. Amad Diallo left-footed, and normally we've been playing inverted. So let's not be inverted. Let's try something different. It would really show other Premier League teams that Michael Carrick's got things in the locker, and we're not going to be a one-trick pony, which we have been under so many managers for what? Eric Ten Hag, Amarin, Mourinho, even Ollie. You knew what was coming and you knew how to defend against it. So I'm hoping he gets rid of the inversion and literally just goes a 4-4. Because what Leeds do, they flood the midfield. And they go long in towards Calvert-Lewin, lay it off, and then into runners on in behind. Very similar to how Palace would play under Glasner. It'd be interesting to see if Forest play that way next season. Things like that. Evening, Daniel. Made the plastic prawn sandwich. I'm guessing Daniel is a Leeds fan. Hey, mate, what's wrong with a plastic prawn sandwich? Like, let's be fair. These guys buying the tickets, I think they can afford a real prawn sandwich. But it's going to be full mainly with the Irish. We know that. I've seen for United standards sent a mass contingents over there to do shows. I don't know if he's gone and brought them all tickets, but this is a friendly. Anyone can get those tickets. Every school kid in Ireland's going to want to be there. Every fan, whether it be a Leeds fan, Liverpool fan, United fan, will go to this game because it's a massive game. It's a Premier League match being played in Ireland. It's the way I see it. But Daniel, let me know if you are a United fan or a Leeds fan. Either way, we all know there's only one United. And how do you see it going tomorrow? Are you happy with your pre-season? If you're a Leeds fan, let me know. But yeah, as I was saying, so Leeds have played 4 friendlies as well. Lost to Wrexham 3-2. some consistencies there. Then obviously beat Sunderland. More importantly, and hats off to you, beating Liverpool 4-2. That was an absolute destruction of a piss poor Liverpool side, and long may that continue. And then 2-0 against RB Leipzig, which we know RB, okay, missing a few players like everyone, and you can only take so much. But I think Leeds have got something for next season if they can stay injury free. That gives Leeds sort of played 4, won 3, lost 1. Fair play. Scored 9, conceded 5 is the way I saw the stats. I think I've got all the scores right there. They come in tomorrow with 3 consecutive wins. Daniel Falk is no mug. He knows his shit. He will be like me, like Carrick, not treating this as a friendly, as a must-win game. Just, lay down a marker to other Premier League sides. Calvert-Lewin, I think, has got 3 goals already, which is probably the best pre-seasons he's had in a long time. Then, obviously, last season, Leeds have the bragging rights, like I said. And that's where I'm going to start the show. Back in January, 1-1. We could deal with that, and it was a pretty shit game. We were going through a lot of crap. Let's be honest. So happy just not to lose it. But then come April, when we're pushing Champions League, and Leeds were worried about relegation yet again. Okafor scored twice inside the opening half hour, and let's be fair, they could have had 4 or 5 in the first half. If it weren't for Casemiro saving our arse, long live Casemiro, have a great career over in Miami. The guy deserves it now. God knows what would have happened if Martinez hadn't been a big girl and started pulling air. So, and you all know how I felt about that. And obviously, right there, if you didn't, I weren't happy about it. It was Leeds' first league win at Old Trafford in 45 years. And Carrick's have to bring that in. So I think we start as strong as we can without worrying about minutes, shall we say. We've got a bit of an update here. So he says he's Leeds. Funny, we both lost direction. I thought that, but it was both also the first friendly we played. So yeah, Leeds have had a good transfer window. You've held, more importantly, I'd say Leeds, you've held on to the players you needed to hold on to. It's not always about what players you bring in. It's sometimes about the players you don't let go and strengthening what you had from last season. And I totally agree with you. Ramo says, Iraola said, for Liverpool players cannot run. Sounds like they need to suffer the word to Amarin. It is funny. That's one of those things where, please tell me how these Liverpool players can't run when 2 seasons ago, I had to think then, 2 seasons ago, you're still under Jurgen Klopp playing gegenpress football, running for 120 minutes, and still plenty left in the tank. So what the hell was going on at training last year when they fell off a cliff? Because if Iraola comes in and says that's quite damning of the previous manager, isn't it? Johnny's in the house. Good evening, Johnny. Agree with you, Mark. No such thing as a friendly. It hurt the game in April. Hope we get revenge this season. Great to have this rivalry again after a long period of not having these matches. Exactly. This is a real, for me, growing up, this is the most important game every season. Liverpool second, but Leeds came first and foremost. It's sort of just what I grew up in my household with United fans. The history of Leeds. Obviously, those who know me better from everything else, I'm a bit of a history buff, but with the War of the Roses. But forget all that. It looks good for my thumbnail and it sounds great. And there is obviously natural history there. But the Cantona, oh God, even Leeds beating us to the final Div 1 title, with last few weeks with Strachan, McAllister, people like that. Oh, it hurt. It hurt as a kid seeing that. But, it soon went away within 1 year of winning the first ever Premier League. So it is what it is. But for me, this is a big, big game. I think Bruno Fernandes starts. And I feel sorry for Shea Lacey because obviously he's the one who's going to have to step out. But he's stepping out for the captain of the club. And I'm sure he understands and knows he's not going to be a regular starter. I could be wrong. And I want to know what you think, guys. Does Lacey start over Ahmad or Mbeumo in a way? Maybe not Mbeumo, because Mbeumo will probably continue playing through the middle because he's in such good form. But he needs a rest out of pre-season. I would say a game as well. And then you've got to look at the left-hand side. Cunha's back. Rashford is available. And yet Dorgu's been having a great run. And he should be hitting 75 minutes come this friendly, maybe even 90 minutes. So all of those who have played every friendly, whether it be a Leeds player or a United player, this friendly is about pushing for 90. And then you play another 90, and then your match sharpness ready to go into the season. So it will be really interesting on how Carrick goes on at us and about intensity. Because where do you guys stand on Carrick still feeling like we're moving the ball too slow? This is where I think Leeds can hurt us. If they want it, if they run at us hard, they will get in behind us. I think Euro should come back in at right back. I know I haven't put him there. I said Mazraoui, but Mazraoui and Dalot need minutes. But Euro's being punished for having a good pre-season to get them minutes. Maybe Luke Shaw needs a rest and Amash should play and bring Shaw on later on in the game. So you've got a choice. If Shaw does pick up a knock, we've always got to be wary of Luke Shaw and his slight injury concerns. Daniel says, it's a huge rivalry between us. Only difference is that our fans aren't plastic. Mate, I have Leeds fans down here that don't go to a game, don't have a northern accent. So you've got just as many plastic fans. Back in the day, Leeds was still a huge club. You're just not global at the end of the day. But, like I just said 2 seconds ago, you got one thing to hang on to. You did win the last ever Div 1 title. Happy days. Gordon Strachan with that title. But, you're just a yo-yo team. And you've got to be honest about that. Like, plastic or not, how many of these fans that are in the Premier League turn up to every game in the Championship? They didn't. They didn't, because there was problems and the fans called it out. So it is what it is. And that's what I mean. You can keep calling us plastics. I'll keep coming back at you. It's a good rivalry. It's a good bounce. It's great for my chat. But you're doing it in the right way. And we can be respectful because we have that history, And the other thing, both Man United and Leeds, what we do have in common, we both fucking hate Liverpool. So we do definitely have that in common. So always good to have a bit of banter. But I think tomorrow, with Mount now being injured, I think Yuri Tillman starts. So it is the starting midfield that we probably all know we have to start with against Hull. Okay, Tilleman, Santos, Bruno. It it still doesn't make sense in my head, right? It seems a dream. Santos still amazing pre-season. You're still like, what can't he do? Has he been tested? This is going to be a test up against the Leeds midfielders. Although I don't know if you've got any injuries going into this. Bruno, guy's always fit. We haven't got to worry. He could probably play 90 minutes as of last week, right? Straight back in, straight doing 90 minutes. Same with Dallo. One thing about the Portuguese players, they can run all day, every day, and twice on Sundays. But it is where we're at now about rotations, about partnerships, about getting on the same wavelength. Because I don't think Bruno Fernandes is going to be able to play the football Bruno Fernandes has always played. I think we're going to go back to him slotting through balls on the floor. He's not going to be able to throw the ball in the box, and Bumo's not winning any headers. If we're going to have runners in Rashford, Ahmad, and Bumo in behind, then the ball can't just be clipped over the top against a low block in Leeds. Let's see what Carrick's cooking, because we do know how Leeds play. They will soak up the pressure and then they will hurt you on the counter. I can't think what his name is. The American lad in midfield. I really like him. He's rapid though. He's absolutely rapid, and there's many of things to look out for. Some of the things that I've sort of signal out. And Bumo, is he going to be right side or centre? Leeds are going to be probably expecting him straight through the middle. Does Cunha start if you've got Cunha and Rashford and Dorgu gets a rest this game? Because that's going to change how we play. Mainu, Talisman, Mainu. 45 minutes each, maybe? Maybe Talisman, Santos comes on, and at some point we've got Talisman and Mainu in midfield. Well, you could probably say goodbye to us keeping a clean sheet if we do that. The Rashford decision. The one thing I'm looking forward to tomorrow night, we will finally know where Michael Carrick stands regarding Rashford, because it won't be whether he starts him, whether he brings him on, but it'll be about how he is around the side of the pitch. When he's bringing him on, has he got his arm around him, or is he standing there talking to him face to face? Those sort of things. Like, if it was me, and you got to fake it till you make it, the arms around Rashford before he comes on looks good, but it makes him think you've got faith in him. Arms around him, you're giving the information. Go on, lads. Look, all these guys here, we've wanted you back at these clubs. Some of them doubt you. Only you can go out and prove them wrong. That's the kind of conversation I'd be having with him. Whether Carrick's that kind of manager, I don't know. He's quite strong, silent type. But it's going to be a big thing. Does De Ligt get on the bench tomorrow night? There's a question for everyone. Even you, Daniel. Like, everyone knows about De Ligt's back injuries. The fact he's been missing for like eternity. Does De Ligt make the bench? Does he get minutes? I think we're mad if we even put him on the bench personally. But I'm asking you what you think. Obviously no Martinez and Mount. You might as well just give the game off and play him against his favourite Amarin, because those two are like that. I don't know where Leeds are at with Ampadu, Rodon, Dan James, people, where they are minutes wise, but they can hurt us. I quite like Statch and Aronson, but I might butcher the name. Is it Nemecha? But so Daniel's saying no proper centre backs or left back, which is great for us. Attacking football will make for an open game, hopefully. Daniel, right? My question to you: are you expecting a proper Premier League style match, or are you still expecting it sort of 60, 75%, energy levels, because United's pre-season friendlies against whichever team, both teams have sort of been jogging pace, no real sprinting pace ever. And it's sort of why I don't make the biggest thing out of the results or anything, because no one's really given 110%, because they don't want to be injured for the first game of the season. And I get that. Obviously, Trafford will be... it'd be interesting to see how he fits in with you. Yeah, so even Daniel thinks he'll still be about 70%. So it'll be interesting what players... I think people like Ahmad, who are worried about their place, Dorgu, they might go 110% because they've got people knocking on the door behind them. Mazrari, Dallo probably put everything in. Shaw comes off. Amas is going to give everything because he wants to prove to stay at the club, stay there for us. And Leeds, you've got quite a big squad now, haven't you? So I suppose it's about doing that. Come on, if you're in this 30 minutes, you run like you're going to play in 90 and just give everything for 30 minutes. That's what I would hope. Get your fitness up that way. But I feel both teams can hurt each other tomorrow in the transition, normally on paper, but it's whether or not we choose to do that. Because if we're not going to run at Leeds, then you might as well play Cunha. If you are going to run at Leeds, you might as well play Rashford. Dorgu can do both. But for me, it's going to be all about midfield. I'm really looking into all eyes in on that midfield and seeing how both sides look at it, because I'm guessing Leeds fans are expecting to absolutely overrun us in midfield. That's how if I was a coach for the opposite side, I'd be looking at Man United's midfield going, they're all good names, they're all good players. They're not gelled. We can go at them. If we go at them hard, physical, they're not going to want it, and we'll win the ball back, and we can just dictate play. It's just about being hard, winning the ball back, and then knock it around the pitch and keep possession, keep the ball moving, keep your fitness levels up, and get your shots off. Well, yeah, absolutely. We've all got to say this, right? When you play a Premier League side, you taste the Premier League, right? You know it's right there. It's touching distance. We know it's Wednesday night. Saturday, we have less than 14 days. What is it? 10 days as of tomorrow, I think, before the Premier League starts. Because do we all play on the Sunday? Is that right? And let's see what happens. Or who's on the Friday night? Who's the Friday night game? I suppose it'll be Arsenal, League Champions. Be Arsenal, some on Saturday, some on Sunday. I haven't actually looked. Although I've been so focused on United, I've not looked at any of the other fixtures because I really don't care. Only focus on my own team. Has Michael Carrick, United, actually learned how to start a football match, right? Let's get into that. Let's get into how piss poor our starts have been. And it's not new. This is what we were talking about back in April, why Leeds beat us. We weren't at the races from the first seconds, and they were. I think they hit the post within 5 minutes, was it? Calvert-Lewin header. Our friendlies, we've been slow. We've been lethargical. If you're at the game tomorrow night, great, get in it. When we do you probably won't get to watch the player ratings, but when I do the review on Thursday night, let me know what you thought about the warm-up. Get in early, have a look at the warm-up, because it's going to tell you a lot about the players, the ones jogging around, whether they're sprinting or anything like that. I get it. If you're the second string, you just got to make sure you're focusing on first-team players. But are they warming up for the whole half? because you can actually get minutes in your legs by just basically kicking every ball from the touchline. That's what I call it anyway. You get up and you sprint when your team sprints. You're there. You can't touch, obviously take a ball out and do anything with it. But when you're on that touchline, you just keep moving. You keep stretching. You know, if the ball's in the air, you can have a little jump up, have a header. This is what things that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer used to do, and that's why he used to come on. He kicked every ball. So did Teddy Sheringham. So did Ander Herrera. So did Juan Mata. Whether they were starting or not, they kicked every ball, and they were always in it. Whereas the way we've started now, because they're learning new tactics, dare I say it, we are stupid. Some of our players are thick. They're in their own heads. They don't want to make a mistake. Where should I be? What do I have to do? Are we in the first quarter, the second quarter, the third quarter, defensive quarter? So you're all about playing your positional football in the structures. Are we defending in a 4-4-2, a 4-5-1? These sort of things. When do I press? I've noticed it from Ahmad and Bumo, Dorgu, Mount, Santos. They seem to have it down. But now we're going to be bringing through these other players from the defence. Harry Maguire's played every game, I believe. Same as Luke Shaw. He even played 90 minutes of the last match. I believe he was the only player not to come off. So that's interesting in itself. It has been a boring few weeks without the World Cup. Although the World Cup wasn't great, it was football to watch. For me, I'm straight back into pre-season, so it never stops. I was just thinking, that just made me think. So forget reputation, guys. If you had to pick tomorrow purely on what the game requires, who starts? Rashford, Cunha or Dorgu on the left? Let me know, because we had a good conversation, obviously, about what we felt about Rashford. But the fact is, he's in the squad, he's available. Who do you think starts? Do you keep Dorgu as was? Do you bring Cunha in from the start or Rashford? Because I think there's a lot to look at. It's very hard to do a preview of a friendly because we don't know how many minutes a player is going to get. Whether they're even going to stay fit, Mason Mount. But we can now talk tactics. Okay, I've gone through the lineup. I think Semi Lemon's come in. I think he's going to be cold. We haven't really seen him since the fuck up by the coaches of Belgium and what happened with Courtois, Lemons going on. This is why you give minutes to a goalkeeper once qualified. Once they were out the group, he should have played the third game. These sort of things. It was a mistake. It's probably the first real mistake. And when I talk about mistake, I'm talking proper mistake. I've seen Semi-Lemons make. Misplaced pass happens. The player receiving the ball can be just as fault as the goalkeeper passing him. So I'm not worried about those two mistakes he made last season. But we're still only talking about three mistakes in nigh on a calendar year now. Daniel thinks Rashford starts for us. You hated on him, but I still think there is a big player inside. Daniel, we had a big chat here, and I feel the same. I feel that if Marcus Rashford was the master footballer, and those who know what I mean, fair play for watching Ballers League, but if it was him and we bought him from Barcelona, La Liga winner, decent amount of goals, decent amount of assists, we'd probably all be happy, but we've all hung on to the past. I don't do that. He's there, he's in the squad, we need him to do well. Whether A, you want to sell him, or B, you want to be successful. Either way, Rashford needs to do well. If he starts messing around, then everyone's right, and he'll be frozen out, and it'll be, good night Vienna for him. If you want to have a word with all the Leeds fans and you want to come in and get Rashford over to Leeds, but pretty much no one wants to take him because it's a gamble. They're worried about the big wages, the big transfer fee, considering where he's been. It's a gamble. You don't want to pay that out and him not turn up. But for me, clean slate, Go out there, do your job. And as long as you're doing your job, I don't have a bad word to say about anyone. I said the same about Anthony when we had him. He worked his arse off all the time. He weren't good enough, but he gave 110%. That's all Rashford needs to do, is turn up, show up, and give everything he's got. Well, that's it. Rashford's stats were better than Gordon's last season, which is, he says, which is pure comedy that Barcelona went in for Gordon. Gordon is a one-trick pony, in my opinion. But there might be an underlying reason why he didn't go in for it. And that's probably one of the things in a lot of the United fans going, well, why did they sign Gordon if he was that good for him? What was it that Hansi Flick didn't want from Marcus Rashford? And he thought, do you know what? Rashford, thank you. Yeah, have your title. Do this. Won a title over in Spain. Not many English footballers have ever done that. I think that's Gary Lineker, and only a few with like Beckham and that at Madrid. So, but he's probably the first Englishman since Lineker to win a title for Barcelona. But Gordon is a one-trick pony. It's his pace. Left foot, put it in behind. He draws you in and he tries to run you. And that will work in La Liga. But I think he has a better end product than Rashford. Rashford will cut in and shoot. Gordon will try and get more byline and pull the ball back. So there is a big distinctive difference in their final ball, shall we say. Guys, not hearing much from anyone else in the chat tonight. Come on, everyone else there. Get in there, get your questions in. There's been plenty of you in and out throughout the night. Please, guys, I'll probably just drop this in here. Big news last night came out. YouTube are changing things. I need to basically hit 1,000 subscribers by February 1st now. Otherwise, I'm going to have to do 8,000 hours in a year rather than 4,000, which is a big difference. So, new channel, I do shit with other bigger channels, and this is just my own personal. We need to share it, care it, and make it happen. And I can only do that with you guys. So if you are new here, hit the subscribe. Daniel, if you've hit subscribe, amazing. Obviously, I don't expect you to, being a Leeds fan, unless you just want to constantly come back and give me abuse, which I can take. So don't worry about it. It's paramount that you help me out, guys. Otherwise, channels like mine are just going to disappear, and you're just going to be left with the dictation of a Mott Goldbridge, Stratford Paddock, people like that who are dictating to you what you should think. Right here, come have your say. We will talk it out like I'm doing right now. And we only need 16, as I pinned it in the chat. Guys, I pinned it in the chat. We need 16 to hit the 300, which we're meant to be doing by the end of this month. We only need 16 now. So how many of you can get that? And who's going to be the guy I call out for being number 300? That's your aim. I can't do memberships until we hit 500, but I can call you out and get your stuff in. What's my favourite win against Leeds? Johnny says. All of them? All of them? I have to come back to that one, Johnny. You put me on the spot. It would probably go back to the 80s. I will be honest. It'll go back to early 90s, late 80s kind of game. I know I was only born in 81, but I feel that the Premier League didn't really have the physicality. I liked us when we were beating them when they were going for the Champions League, shall we say. I can't remember what the score was, and I remember beating them back then. If you don't know, Johnny Commode, literally, I swear the guy knows everything and anything there is to know about Man United. And, Google should be taking his answers. Or get him on ChatGPT or something. Johnny, what was your favourite win? I'm sure it's going to be something around the early 90s. Let's continue to talk about the lineup tomorrow night. And let's talk about the problem, the elephant in the room that's not really being spoken about on many channels. And that is the centre-backs. Because we are in shit when it comes to centre-backs. I am aware that Leeds are in the same boat as of this, but we actually have first choice at the moment. They don't. We have Harry Maguire. We have Aidan Heaven. We have Lenny Euro. And we technically have Mazraoui who can play there. De Ligt's on the grass. He's training. He's just taking part in individual training. So like I said, I don't expect him to step foot on the pitch. We might put him on the bench as a courtesy, but you'll see he probably won't even have his socks on. He'll probably be in sliders or something like that without his boots, knowing he's not going to get on. But there's a lot of transfer rumours out there for left backs. There was this rubbish about this Belgium that we are looking at centre back, young 19-year-old. If United sign another 19-year-old with Aidan Heaven, I think 20 now, and Euro just about turned 21. I'll be done with it. Ineos, I will absolutely be done, because we could have gone for Senesi for some experience. Jesus, let's test Romero's resolve and try and bring Romero in from Tottenham. If he wants to go to Arsenal, let's put a cheeky bid in for him there. But we are crying out for a top centre back to come in, someone who can stay fit, someone who can, dovetail with Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire is not going to be able to do the same as Luke Shaw and play every game. It's mind-boggling, for use of a better expression there. It's absolutely mental that we are not going out and going, do you know what? Yes, we need a left back. Yes, we probably need another striker. We definitely need that holding midfielder, but we are way too short at the back. Evening, Jules. Good to see you. What we're doing at the back with centre-backs, relying on Aidan Heaven, who is a walking red card at the moment. He's a bit of a young hothead. I don't mind it. But that tackle in the PSG game reminded me of his first game back against Chelsea. Do you remember in the first 10 minutes? He probably should have seen red. He was flying into tackles left, right and centre. And then he calmed down. And that's normally Harry Maguire alongside him who calms him down. Like, wait, what the fuck are you doing? Calm down, stay, breathe and just grow into the game. Which is what Harry Maguire brings, but only Harry Maguire. You're not getting that from Martinez. De Ligt, as much as we want it, probably never steps foot properly back on the pitch. But it is one of those things. I got worried when so Jules says, I got worried when she looked at the available defenders tonight. If we bring a left back in, that means Shaw can be an additional cover at centre back. But was Shaw really a good centre back? Because it is so naturally being dragged out to the left. He'll drift out wider. Unless he's playing 10 games in a row there, you can't just switch off when you played your whole career at left back. I like Shaw. I like him a lot. I would put him in the Jamie Redknapp category of mentality. He is cover, but it's the right-sided centre-back we need the cover for. If you think Aidan Heaven, Martinez, Luke Shaw, that would be 3, right? Lenny Euro plays better on the left. Trevor Wade, that one's for you. But he is right. For some weird reason, Lenny Euro is better on the left than he is the right, even though he's right-footed. Which just leaves Harry Maguire and Dan Armour. Dare I say it? And Dan Armour, who's just coming in, what is he? Just out of the 18s? Was he 19 now? Another 19-year-old. It is ridiculous. I do remember it, Johnny. I do remember it. I remember it well. And that was the funny times when no one thought about redoing fixtures. You just played when you played. Dan Armour can't be expected to step in. Although he looks like Harry Maguire's illegitimate son and literally is a carbon copy on the way he plays and everything like that, it is really worrying. So, yes, we need a left back. Every player that I just said we need. But there's needs and there's necessity. We need a left back because we know Luke Shaw can't stay fit. But right now he is. And we have Harry Amas. We need a striker. But right now when Bumo's doing well and we do have Sesko, if he can ever get fit and stop bench pressing bloody 400 kilos or whatever it is, because his shoulders just looks huge. But when it comes to the midfield, I think on paper we have about 10 central midfielders. But centre-back, right-sided centre-backs, we're just passing them over. Lacroix, Anderson, they're two that jump out at me. Lacroix from Palace, Anderson from Fulham. They would have been great people to have brought in. Senesi, free transfer, didn't think about it. Jesus, we could have raided Liverpool for a free transfer. He wouldn't have been any good, but it's an additional player. As soon as Martinez got injured, I was like, holy shit, we're in trouble. Okay? Because Lenny Oro, if he has to come in for Harry Maguire, we've now got a central centre-back pairing of under 21s. Which, it doesn't matter who it is, it's ridiculous. Jules says, has Armour been at the club for long, or was he brought from another academy? Dan Armour's come all the way through the academy. He just wasn't getting played, and then all of a sudden he had a growth spurt. He is actually last season's under-21s captain, I believe. Or at least has worn the armband the most. They're probably like us. He was definitely an under-18s captain. He's just fearless. He's a great passer of the ball, can punch it through the lines. Everything we say about Martinez being the only one who can play line-breaking passes, which is a lie that a lot of channels like to spin. Harry Maguire definitely can do it, ex-midfielder. Aidan Heaven's a great passer of the ball, I've noticed. He actually gives it to which foot you ask it for as well, so even better. And Dan Armour, he really does fire the ball into feet. Just says, I would have taken Diamonde as a centre-back too. There's many a player out there. What is his name from Barcelona? Begins with A. I would have had him. He plays right back or right centre-back. Akuji. You know, if you know your Barcelona players, you'll know. I mean, I'm not 100% on names. I feel that at some point, dare I say it, guys, we may have to switch to three at the back. If Harry Maguire gets injured, strengthen numbers in centre-backs. Because, yes, you could bring in a right side in Mazraoui, but he's too small. And then you're asking Aidan Heaven to play alongside Mazraoui, which is great. Mazraoui will talk to him, experience everything you want. But Aidan Heaven's got to go win every header. Because we know that's what Harry Maguire does. He stops people from putting crosses in the box. Because they know with his magnetic forehead, it's just going to suck it all up and bang, out it goes. So there are a few things. What do a lot of you think about it? Is this the unspoken biggest problem United have at the moment? Because I can go through the team. Do you know what? Fuck it. I will go through the team. We have 4 potential first-team goalkeepers. We obviously have Semi Lamans, number 1. We have Tom Heaton, who can do his job. And I mean, he's looked great. But would you bring him in for 1 game if you had to? Yes. Would you bring him in for 10? Probably not. Then we signed Magotson, the Welsh under-19s goalkeeper, who's now 20. And obviously we've signed Carl Darlow from Leeds. Would have been great if he would have been able to play. And I would like to see him, but as far as I'm aware, still injured. If I look at left back, we have Luke Shaw, Harry Amas, Kokonki could come through at left back. Diego Leon we brought as a left back. Aidan Heaven can play there. Right back, Mazraoui can play left back or right back. Dalot, left back or right back. Both of them shit, but he can play both. So we're lacking there. Centre backs, who's fit, who's not. We've only got 3 centre backs, and then under 21, as I just said a minute ago. Midfielders, Fletcher twins, Mason Mount, Tillersman, Santos, Mainu. I'm gonna throw Bruno in there. Then you can go Freights. Then you could go, if we're lucky, the one transfer that I think we do, or at least try to do, Sander Berge. If we can bring him in, great. But we've definitely got numbers there. Ugarte, when he recovers, because we're not going to be able to sell him now after an ACL. That's it. His contract's going to be seen through. Left wing, Dorgu, Rashford, Cunha. Right wing, Mbumo, Lacey, Ahmad. Up front, Mbumo, Sesko, Obi. Bruno Fernandes, the only player in the 10, but the guy never gets injured. But Lacey can come in there. Mount can go in there. Like I say, we can rotate there. Tillersman can do a job in that. So we have players in all of these positions except centre-back. And people don't tend to talk about it, and they don't tend to bring it up because it's not big news, because it wasn't the Casemiro replacement and it wasn't where you get overrun. But it has been a potential, when you overrun that midfield, the defence is the last thing, right? That's what you've got. You hit the centre-backs and then you get your shot off. So if our centre-backs aren't doing their job and controlling the midfield, it is just as big a problem as not having a decent holding midfielder. Because if you can have the best holding midfielder, if you've got 2 19-year-olds not talking, keeping quiet, he will be out of position. Because, yes, he can scan, he can do 270 odd degrees. He can't do 380 unless he's running around on the spot like a dog chasing his tail. That comes from the centre-backs, controlling them and having that spine through the team. And that's what we get with Harry Maguire. Bit of a rant, guys, I know, but I feel that it's something that's not being spoke about enough on any channel about us missing out on an absolute stonewall. It doesn't have to be world-class, but it needs to be an experienced centre-backs. Jules says, Newcastle fans are very complimentary about Darlow as a solid goalkeeper. Dave, on the other hand, says Darlow is average, mentally frail, tends to go on a bad run of confidence after conceding a poor goal. Which you could say could come down to the players in front of him. As a young goalkeeper, I have 10, when I was a kid, I pretty much tried to save everything, but I had 10 defenders in front of me first. So whatever I let in ain't 100% on me. There was 10 players in front of you. So if you can do your job, you can get your shape, you can hold it together, he's less likely to concede poor goals. But I will, from my opinion, he makes poor decisions. But he comes in now under a different goalkeeping coach, under a different defensive coach, working with them. And therefore you can change his decision making. There's been many a goalkeeper that has been great and gone to a team and become shit, and vice versa. Aaron Ramsdale is one that jumps out to me. Hey Dave, I was never too impressed when I watched Darlow, so I was surprised when I listened to them talk about him. He was the accidental number 1 in my opinion. I think that's a fair way of putting it. But you've got to think about when we had Dubravka. We had Dubravka and he was absolute pants. Last season when he had to step in at Newcastle, he became very hard to beat. So it's all about having that run of games that sometimes you want to have earned it, but the be all and end all is it doesn't matter, right? You get your chance, 2 hands, take it. Ironic, I know, when I'm talking about goalkeepers, but you know what I mean. You got to take it. You know he's out for 6 to 8 weeks. You've got that many games as long as you don't fuck up. And you go out there. And then it just becomes down to your mentality, your mind palace going, I ain't going to let there be no mistakes. Now I'm not doing so much with youth players. I've gone into disability. The one and only thing I've taught all of this, well, I've taught them a lot, but the main thing, every time the goal goes in, whether we score it or we've conceded it, it's 0-0, because you're never going to save the next one if you're still thinking about what happened before. You've got to be ready to go again, and you've got to have that strong mind to let it go. You know, dare I quote the song, which many of you just probably like me, when you hear this term "let it go," the words pop in your head. That's just how I see it. Dave comes in and says, "Jules, I've seen some poor performances." Pink waving. King Carrick straight in with the holler. I had to read that. So on my screen, it comes up differently to the emote. It describes the emote. And I wasn't looking at the pink hand. Evening, King. Good to have you in there. We're just sort of talking through how the centre-back position is really, in my opinion, the biggest problem we've got. And it's the biggest thing we need to protect through this and the AC Milan friendly right now. We're also talking about the fact that we've got Darlow and he's probably not available to play against Leeds, his former team. Dubravka was excellent for Newcastle as their number one years ago, but agreed, Mark, he was shite for United. And that's it. Playing for Man United, you can say it once, you can say it 1,000 times. It brings a different expectation. My mate Ant, it wasn't a proper competitive game, but he played in the Soaking Cup on Old Trafford, right? Gets changed. You're getting changed in the changing rooms. You're doing everything. You're at a training ground a couple of days before. You're literally being treated like a first team player. Okay, yeah, it's all business. It's prawn sandwich stuff, and you know he's a very 5-time world champion windsurfer. Got his own digital business with in AI and things like that. Soaking, invite him along. Gets the kit, gets everything, goes in goal. And he said, standing there in the goal in an empty stadium was like, and he's played in stadiums. He's not like new to the game or anything like that. But he said, just standing there, you're in awe, but at the same time, you're like, holy shit, when this gets loud, as we all know when we're there. Imagine that. So your confidence is that much off. Fuck, your head's going into your shoulders and everything. And we saw that with Onana. It's a prime example. We all know Onana's shit, but he was never going to get out of the rut because every time the shot come in, it was a gasp, and it wasn't like it was a killer shot. It was a gasp whether or not it was going to rustle in the back of the net because you couldn't trust him. But keepers aside, Semi Lamens is going to come back in. I think maybe sees out the game. I would give, being a goalkeeper, you could give him 60, 70 minutes and just say Ben Mee play the rest. I doubt he'll only give him 45. The back four I need, with the exception of Mazraoui, playing 90 minutes. The midfielders, Santos needs a rest, and everyone else needs minutes. So I really don't know how that's going to go. I don't know how the chat feels, what they're thinking about it, but it is going to be a real weird and wonderful to see that midfield. We could have two totally different midfields, one in the first half, one in the second half. Or we could have the be-all and end-all of fuck it and go all in, right? Santos, Talisman, Bruno, you're playing 90 minutes. I need you against AC Milan. I need you clicking for a hole. It's a big gamble, and you just say, look, if you feel anything, let me know you're coming off. I would do it. I would do it because I feel no professional footballer should be that unfit after a World Cup or even through things that they can't play 90 minutes. As we were saying earlier on in the show with Daniel, the Leeds fan, he thinks they're going to play at 70%. So there's no reason. But Tielemans 100% 45 minutes. Santos, if he starts, I expect him off at half time, and then we'll see what happens. Mainu can come on. Tielemans can play through where he needs to. The Fletchers, we've still got them. Bruno, maybe 60 minutes. Because he only got 20, didn't he? 25 minutes in the last game. So he needs a lot more minutes in the legs, unless the manager feels he doesn't. So start Bruno, see where we can go, bring Lacey on for him. There's ways we can do it. Jules says, I think the first 45 minutes for Tielemans and Santos, but then second half, plenty of changes. But I don't want plenty of changes, Jules. We've only got 2 games left. We need as many 90 minutes now, or 75 minutes minimum in those starters' legs, the ones who have been in pre-season. Because if we go back a year, that's what we were doing. The last pre-season friendly, which is the AC Milan game, last year when we played our last pre-season, the players played 80, 90 minutes. They only came off because they were too tired. And bear in mind, look where we were playing. We were playing over in America, a lot hotter from, well, it might not be actually Saturday. Thursday, for me, is pushing 37. So obviously the big heat wave here. But Ireland, Wednesday night, should be absolutely fine. Then we go to Poland for the AC Milan game. Then we're back to Carrington the same night. I believe we're flying straight back. Jules says, agreed, would rather at least 60 minutes for the starters. But who are the starters? So that, and again, that's, if they're being given 60 minutes, are we expecting them to start against Hull? Because I want my strongest team. Every game I want my strongest team. I don't need to rotate players. That's what cup matches are for. Because we're in the Champions League, we're pretty much going to play Sunday, Wednesday, Friday or Saturday and play on the Tuesday, or Saturday, Sunday and play on the Wednesday. We won't play any Monday night footballs unless it's around Christmas. It's going to screw over Amazon because they're the ones who really benefited from us on Monday nights, and Sky as well. Carabao Cup Wednesday night games, full rotation. I hope when that comes in, I think it's October, isn't it? When we go into the next round, or will it be November? Because obviously back in Champions League means we go in one round later than what we did last year, and there should be no embarrassments. And let's just see. Let's just get these legs in. Dave says Leeds normally play a high tempo. It will be a proper test for Tielemans and Santos. But Daniel, the Leeds fan, was saying that they've not been playing that tempo at the moment, and he thinks they're only going to be sort of going at 70%, because the problem with high tempo football in pre-season on hard ground is a lot more hard going. I know ground heavily watered, things like that. What hosepipe ban doesn't apply to football clubs, right? It'll be interesting, because the harder the ground up, the more wear and tear on your muscles, your knees, your ankles, and you don't want that. Now, obviously, this is a Leeds preview. Let's give a little bit about the next match. Question to the chat. And this question will be asked again Thursday when I do the review show. AC Milan, Amorim. We go back to the players, and did they fall out with Ruben, or was that all just Billy Big Bollocks once he's gone from the media? I think they're going to have a point to prove. I don't think they're going to hold back. I think they're going to know his tactics. They're going to go out there and they want to make an example of him. That's certainly how I would coach. That's how I would play. That's how any player I've ever known at former United players would play. They would want to make an example of a former manager who basically disrespected the club in the way that he did. I haven't really spoken about it. I had no problems with him trying to do different tactics, but there's the United way, and there's lines you don't cross, and he did cross them. Talking about quitting and things like that, you don't do that at Man United. Like Ollie knew he was getting the sack, and the guy never talked about going early. You know, I don't need the money. Well, I'm sure you don't need the fucking money. You're on 16 million a year or whatever it was for that entire coaching squad. But I want to know if our players have got the balls to go out there and go, do you know what? You're going to play three at the back. You're going to ask him to invert. You're going to push the ball forwards. You're going to play wing backs, and they're going to. Let's see how much they learnt under Hammer and how to exploit it, because every other team exploited it to us. Let's get Mbumo, Bruno, Shea Lacey, Dorgu in the half space, which is always was exploited against us. And let's see what happens. The Italians' football is known for the art of defending, right? Ruben Amorim doesn't defend. He's all about getting the ball and going at it. So what do you guys feel about the Leeds game and holding back, the players holding back to have a point to prove against Amorim? Because I think in the back of some of those players' heads, it will be there. Oh, sorry. It's still so warm. And I'm on the south coast. So, again, guys, I'm just going to say, if you are new here, please hit that subscribe button. I really need the help. And I want to see if we can get to the 300. We are current. Have we picked any up tonight? Let's have a quick look. We need 15 more to hit 300 now. So that's all on you guys. I can't do it. If I could, I would. I think they call it cheating, but you know. That pretty much wraps up the preview. I think we can only talk about each individual player. We can only talk about our perfect example. Where are we at? We're just over an hour. There's a few things that I would like to talk about regarding tactics. But I don't want to preach at you guys, because obviously when you talk tactics, it's a bit hard to. You can ask me questions about what I'm saying or what you believe, and I can come back at them, but it makes it very hard to interact with the chat. What I want to talk about is a real lack of patterns of play, I've noticed. Now, there might be a reason for that, because if you're going for a high press, turn the ball back, quick counter attack, there isn't no real pattern of play. It would be win the ball back, pass it to X, and he'll knock it in behind, and we've got the runners have already gone, and their trigger would be winning the ball back. But what I had noticed with Michael Carrick when he done a four-man press was the holding midfielders in Santos and whoever next to him, which will most likely be Tielemans or Mainu, they were sitting deeper and creating a big pocket to know where, if you're going to beat the press, you're going to play it into this specific space so we can collapse onto them. And maybe you don't know what I mean by collapse. It's basically the press is the striker going in between the two centre-backs, forcing to play wide to one of the fullbacks, but Ahmad or Dorgu, who've already been there to jump on them. That's how we got our goal against PSG. Ahmad's done it multiple times in every game, being 5 yards closer to, as soon as they go to play the pass, you've determined where that pass will go already, which is the perfect example of pressing. So it's something we've worked on. But at the same time, Santos is reading that ball. So when we don't intercept it, Santos is picking up the second ball. He knows that if their touch is off, he'll have it off their toe. And if he can dive in off the shoulder, he will. Tielemans also very, very good at doing that. But he has the pass, and then we quickly counter. Now, we did that against Rosenborg. We did that against Wrexham, not to very good success against Wrexham, because I think they were too direct for it to work. But we also done it against Atletico. But against PSG, we tried something totally different. Against PSG, it felt like we played a front three, almost like a 4-3-3, but a narrow midfield. And we pressed with a free man, and then the midfielders pushing up higher, being higher in behind, because Atletico are physical. They want to be the big dog. They want to say, you want to come, you want to try and take the ball off me? Come on then. Let's see if you can get the ball off me. They'll challenge you. Whereas Premier League sides are all about passing it around, right? You know someone's going to jump into this 5-yard box, so you play it early. You play 1-2 touch football. You don't ever take anyone on, which is why not why, it's what I hate about the game most. The Mavericks we were talking about last night on Tactical Devils, that's why they've gone. They didn't need to go. A few teams have them, but most teams, you get pulled out if you're not passing the ball around, right? You'll get pulled off for someone who will retain the ball and not take someone on. Dave says, if Bruno's fit, Bruno plays, will still be a 4-2-3-1. I'd like to see another formation. Well, Dave, that's sort of what I'm getting at. If we're going to try different presses, we need to try different blocks. So the reason I set my team up as a 4-4-1-1, because we all know Bruno will push forward almost like a second striker if allowed. But going back the other way, it's an instant defensive situation. And Bruno doesn't really defend. When he does, he gives away a foul. He's a horrendous tackler. I'm not actually sure who's worse, Paul Scholes or Bruno Fernandes, for his tackling ability when they've got such good ability on the ball. But 13 likes, Danny says. Come on, guys. 13 likes. There's 18 of you watching, and there's no way that all 13 likes came from you, 18, because I know people who have left and already have liked the video. So let's get those likes up. It should be at least 20 plus. Every show now, 20 plus likes. You know, it's not asking too much at all, I don't think. So if we're going to play a 4-4, I want to start seeing what we call up and back. So I want to see our defenders firing it into Bruno Fernandes and him laying it off backwards, not helping it round the corner, not being on the half turn. I want to see him receive the ball on the back foot and play it wide to one of Santos or Talisman's for runners, and then play the ball into the channel for others, because that allows us to get more players into the box. It's not instant transition. It's not win the ball back, chuck it in behind, and we can't get up the pitch quick enough, because if you chuck the ball in behind to your fastest players, how are you keeping up with them? And it stretches the game, and we don't want the game stretched. We want control, not chaos in the midfield. I speak about that a lot. United creates chaos by chucking the ball in behind to channels. Yes, it's great. It works. It's very effective, especially last season. It's why we finished where it was. But we don't want to be a one-trick pony. We want to be able to do that against the Man Cities, the Liverpool, when they're attacking and their fullbacks push on and there's more space to run into. Drag the centre-backs out. I think against Leeds, who will play deeper, we need the dribblers. We need possession ball. We need 1-2 touch, diagonal passing, triangles. You know, the meme from last year should be the perfect example of what you do around the edge of the box. And if you don't know what I mean, Bruno and Bruno, Bruno and Bruno, Cunha and Bruno, you know, that one. So South American music and commentator, because we're capable of doing it. Certain players, okay, there's no footballer in the Man United team that isn't doing rondos before training. 1 touch, trying to nutmeg people, keeping the ball moving. You know, 2 touches, you're in. So they play 1 touch football all day, every day. and probably 3 or 4 times in certain training sessions. Okay, everything's done one touch because it's okay to make mistakes in training. Remember that, guys. 21 of you watching now. It's going up and up. Love it. So will we see Bruno playing as a second striker alongside Mbeumo, with Mbeumo who likes to play off a striker? Will we see Bruno get forward, press with a 2, knowing that the ball will then be fired wide? Can we jump early? Will we play a high line? We're capable of playing a high line with Mazraoui, Aiden Heaven in the back line. But Harry Maguire could be exposed. Luke Shaw could be exposed. Shaw has pace, but it takes him a while to get up to it. That's what I personally think. Dave says, off the ball, Bruno and Tielemans will get a run past. Bruno allows people to run past him. Not in the fact of, I'm not chasing him. When the ball is lost and they're running the other way, he's too busy. Oh, you should have done this, you should have done that. It's my biggest bugbear of Bruno. Get back, win the ball back. Whether it goes out of play, you get a foul, whatever, then bollock the player. Don't bollock the player when you're still trying to run back, because they're clearly not going to be listening to you. They're focused on getting back into position or getting the ball back. And I think it's something Carrick's spoken to him about, because last season we saw less of it. About bloody time, but we saw less of it. So Bruno's going to be pinnacle, but also we've spoken about how much is he going to play? Is it if he's only going to play 45 minutes and Lacey gets another 45 minutes? Lacey is not the same player. Lacey's been linking that up. Lacey will get around the edge of the box and try and bend one in the far left corner as we're looking at the goal, because that's what he does. That's his trademark. So it's going to be very interesting. Is there anything that people are really looking for tomorrow, apart from Santos, Tielemans, Bruno partnership? Are we nervous about Rashford, or do we think that he just sits on the bench? Are we disappointed that Shea Lacey's not going to get as many minutes as he has been? I'm quite excited to have Lamans back in goal. You know, what do you guys think? We're at that point now where, as I wind down the show, I want to get some of your thoughts for tomorrow in. Because then when we do the post-match on Thursday, 10 p.m. Thursday night, I know some of you might be watching Tactical Devils or something like that, but, you know, you've got a choice. You can come over to me. I might even co-stream with Tactical Devils. We spoke about it last night because Jarvis might not be back. So if we do, you'll know about it. I don't know. We can just leave it there if chat hasn't got much to say. But there's 20 of you watching. I'm pretty sure you want a little bit more out of this. So how do you feel pre-season's gone? Because for me, obviously you've seen I've named this video No Such Thing as a Friendly, and there isn't. Rosenborg did not treat us like we were friends. They were too busy trying to chop us down from behind. Atletico was not a friendly match. PSG was a real important game. Might be played at half pace, but there was still, you know, it was games you don't want to win. The Wrexham was probably the only game that you would class as a friendly. But I feel we're taking positive steps forward with the players we got. We can't really talk much about the players we haven't signed, because we haven't signed them. What is the point? What is the point in holding on to coulda, shoulda, woulda? We haven't got them. All the best. They chose what they chose. But now we've got to go out and make them realise, and this is the most important thing, guys, Manchester United need to make the players realise that didn't choose United and have chosen fucking Spurs, because most of them have, you know, and chosen other clubs, and you go, that's fine. You do what you need to do. Go to them. But we're going to be going for the Champions League. We're going to be going for the FA Cup, Carabao Cup. we're going to go for a Champions League spot in the league. I don't think we're going to go and try and win it. But, who knows? We've got one hell of a start to the season to put us in a strong position straight off. If we beat City and we win, there's no reason we can't win our first 6 games. And that's what tomorrow night is about. It's about getting that Premier League survival fucking cannon fodder in Leeds and going, put the wrongs of last season right. Come out the blocks firing. Ramos is saluting me again. Danny says, went well so far. And it has gone well. We've seen good cameos from good young players. We have seen Mbumo coming out firing, hitting the target with nearly every shot. Okay. Slotting balls in, but last season, he hits the player in the midriff. He's hitting it cleaner, more precise, finding the side netting. I'm happy. Free kicks, over the wall, round the wall. Shea Lacey's coming in, doing what he needs to do. Amas, I can't say a bad word about him. Some people want to because they just want United to sign another left back. But I think he's done his job. Mason Mount, well done. You lasted 7 games without picking up an injury. We all knew it would come. I tried to play it down. I got shown up because within hours, it felt like you go and get injured or you felt something. What he felt was glass sticking into him because that's what he's made out of. Who else has really shone? It was good to see Freights come out and get some minutes, but now he's back with the 21s doing their pre-season. So all in all, guys, I think we are ready to now play these last 2 as strong as we can, where we can, rotate through lineups, get people up to speed of, like I said, passing patterns because I haven't seen them. Maybe they've been held back. Get people working on the press, working on the structures. I talk about quarters, and I suppose people think because of the World Cup, I'm talking about quarters of halves. I'm talking about 25 yards out from goal, then 25 to 50 yards, which is the halfway line. 50 yards, 25, back to our goal, right? They're my quarters, and that's basically where you play a low block, a mid block, high block, and you just pin them into their own 18-yard box. That's how I play football. I try and keep it as simple as possible. And I know there's plenty of zones. You've got 18 zones. You've got all that. You've got your channels. You've got 5 channels, in fact, when you break down football. We don't seem to be focusing on all of that. We seem to be keeping it very clear, very precise. Wide players, Ahmad, Dorgu, stay as wide as possible. Chalk on your boots. Old school. Luke Shaw, if you see it, go past. Otherwise, stay. I don't want you doing it every time. Same with our right back. Underlap. Don't go on the overlap because Ahmad needs that space because he's left-footed. He comes back. The right back goes on the underlap. That way he can pick up the pass. Whereas Luke Shaw will go on the overlap because the other player can play it, whether he's right-footed or left-footed, into his pass when running. These little smart improvements I have noticed. Santos reading the game well, being ready to jump, being what I talk about a lot, 5 yards closer to the player. You can be 10 yards and get to the ball. That's fine. But if you're 5 yards, you can get in front of the player and you can intercept it and you're off to the races straight away. I'm seeing more crosses into the box, which was a big concern last year. And the crosses we did put in were crap. This year, hard and low, firing it across the box. Okay, people aren't getting there yet. But we haven't got Sesko. We need a better striker. Like poacher kind of goal, which Sesko's not. But we're building something. And that's what I've seen throughout the entire pre-season so far. And I want that to continue tomorrow night. I believe it will. Danny says, I hope Amas signs a new contract. There's talks of a 2-year extension contract, which basically means we'll see how you get on. If people come in for you, if you're playing well in your cup matches and rotation where needed, people are going to come in and they're going to be knocking at the door. Ramos says, is it wrong that I actually got excited watching Rashford in training wearing the United red? I don't think I would. I didn't even think I would, but I did. No, it's not wrong. It's not wrong because we know who he is. Ramos, you've been here every show since I've come back with the new United lens. If we hold on to that past and we judge him through the past constantly, he will never let loose. We need that Rashford that scored 20, 30 goals in a season where he just let loose. He went left, he went right, he had the tricks, he beat a player. We've got that in Cunha. We want to keep seeing it going. Jarvis is in the house. Evening, Jarvis. Dave says, very wrong, Ramos. Won't be long before he's hiding and sulking. And this is a prime example. You're both right and you're both wrong. Because if he is scoring goals, what's he going to sulk about? If it's going right for him. And Ramos, Dave's right. As soon as it goes wrong, it's going to come back tenfold on him. We should never have had him back. Oh, fucking, I'm going to do it. Hold my hands up. I'm going to do it. I'm not willing to do it, but subconsciously, we know it will happen. I can't stand any player walking around the pitch. Like, the amount of times I shout at, like I said about Bruno Fernandes, bollocking players instead of running back. And it's not just him. You want to hear me when Kobe Mainu gets run past. For me, it's just standards. My standards might be up here, but I grew up with a Roy Keane, a Brian Robson. People never let any standards drop. But they didn't stop and bollock you there and then. The ball went out of play. The player went down. Maybe they scythed the player down and took the yellow card like Casemiro was doing last year. Then they bollocked you. Come on, guys. 2 more likes. 2 more likes. We said 20 on the video. 24 watching. Come on. It costs nothing. And it does everything for me. And where are we at with the subs for the channel? Also, we needed 15 more going into this. Not necessarily as many as we wanted straight away, and that's okay. I'm not I'm not going to go too big on that. When things happen, they happen. But I can check. Yeah, one person subscribed. Thank you to that one person, whoever it was. Most likely it was Gerard. Maybe we're going to convert a Leeds fan into a United lens follower. But what we got here, Ramos, I'm just choosing to believe that he finally matured. He had no market. Nobody wanted him. Humans are humans, and those events can humble anyone. And he was humbled, mate. Ramos, he was humbled at Barcelona. Whether it was a nose out of joint or whatever, he still had to do some humble grovelling because he was not guaranteed a place. Lamine Yamal had the right locked up, and it meant he fights with everyone else. So you are right. And that's what I mean. You can both be right and you can both be wrong at the same time. Rashford doesn't want to be here. But he does, because okay, I'm going to be negative Nancy. Okay. Irish says 100% to Dave and 100% to Jarvis. Let's just quickly read Jarvis's one. The dude doesn't want to be here and we're welcoming him as Billy Big Bollocks. It doesn't feel right taking him back. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Well, let's be fair. We're well past the 9 o'clock watershed here, so we can talk about it in a little bit more grown up. If you're watching this back, I apologise. You might want to skip ahead about a minute, 2 minutes. Bringing Marcus Rashford back is like going back to an ex-girlfriend. You go back to that ex-girlfriend because you know the sex is good and there's certain good things were there and you know you can have a good time. But at the end of the day, there's a reason they're an ex. And as soon as things aren't what you wanted, haven't changed, and you start to realise in it, it explodes big time. The fights happen, everything goes wrong, and you take no shit. You cut the ties even faster than you ever did before. Marcus Rashford is going to come in and If he comes in like he did for England, bang, goal, running behind, doing bits, supplying assists, scoring goals, that's great. But as soon as he has a bad game and the arms come up, it'll be like being in, I don't know, Bangkok and it all of a sudden monsoon. That's what's going to happen. The shit is going to come down on him. The papers are going to be on him. The stories are already going to be written. So every single one of you is right. But there is a right way to treat it. Okay? This is opinion. This is my opinion. No more sex talk. But in my opinion, you can all be right. And I'm not going to say any of you are wrong because you feel the way you feel. But if you spend your life waiting for something to happen, the person will never be able to prove you right. They will only ever be able to prove you wrong. So Marcus Rashford might play the first 20 games. He might be on 10 goals in 20 games. And then he has a bad run of form like any footballer. And he starts getting frustrated. Things don't go right with it. Bang! You're cutting him off. You know it. I know it. It's not a lie. I'm not exaggerating it. We will do it. We will forget that he scored 10 goals. We'll forget he's got 5 assists. We will forget he's played 20 games and not put a foot wrong. We will just cut him off. And that's why we're wrong. We can only look forward and just take what he gives us. If he gives us nothing, we've lost nothing because no one wanted to buy him. And we've tried. And no one can ever accuse us of not trying. You know, Man United, especially under Ineos and the Glazers, we are very trying, okay? We're trying to make fucking miracles happen. You know, Jack and the Beanstalk comes to mind, buying fucking the beans and trying to get the golden goose, because that is what's going on. But that's just what my advice, like, as someone who talks to a lot of negative people, as part of my coaching thing, you have to let it go. You know, be it the out breath, just chill the fuck out and let Rashford do what Rashford needs to do. And if it goes wrong, he ends up as another Sancho. If it goes right, happy days, guys. He's just doing everything we knew he always did. And why the hell did we have to go through this many years of crap when we actually know Marcus Rashford's a great footballer? And we do know Marcus Rashford is a great footballer. We're not questioning that. It's everything else we question. And all we can do, as I think, was it Dave, was it Ramos says, we can just hope he's matured. And that's where I'm going to leave it. It does seem like every show I've got to talk about Marcus Rashford because of the hate. So from this point forward, because he plays most likely tomorrow night, can we only bring the hate when he's done bad? Can we not bring the hate to this channel? There's other channels you can bring the hate to. Let's just judge him for what he does. And can we leave it at that, please, guys? Jarvis, I value your opinion. You know, I know you know your shit. I wouldn't come on your show, and I'm very happy to come on your show. Please don't think I'm putting down anything we might have spoken on, but sometimes I do hold back on your show because I'm respectful of your channel, and I will say it how I see it on my own. So please be aware that, you know, I'm not sure what the right words are, but I'm not criticising anything that you think. I love the fact we can have a difference of opinion. Johnny said, sometimes people have a great time with their ex, have a break, go back and have a wonderful life together. Doesn't always happen, but it does sometimes work. Absolutely. It's about, I'll give you an example. High school sweethearts, right? You might have been going out with someone 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Then you find nightlife. You break up, you go your own way, uni, college. You go out, you've had multiple partners, you've found your way, and then this person walks back into your life. And you're thinking, fucking hell, it weren't working. Like, we never saw each other. You start going out, you have drinks, you see each other in the street. Then you go for a meal, you have a couple of meals. Next thing you know, Bob's your uncle, you got 4 kids. It does happen, Johnny. You are right. And I can actually think of some people I know where that's happened. But 1 in 10, right? maybe even higher than that. That's a great analogy, John. That absolutely makes sense in this scenario. Going back twice a week works. Ramos, I know. Plus, sometimes you are better off having a break, doing your own thing, and then you end up back together. Like, from what I can see, 22 of you, and I haven't got a female in the comments, so I'm going to word it this way. As men, how many of us have broken up with something in our lifetime and realised we did the wrong fucking thing? Because I can definitely hold multiple hands up to that. Okay, we all make mistakes and we live and we learn from them, and that's what we're asking. Ramos says, "I'm with you, Mark. I'm 100% with you on this. I couldn't believe it, mate, but I actually smiled when I saw him in training. I wasn't expecting that reaction, and that's it, because he has brought you happy times. He has. Once the window is closed, we just have to back him. Exactly. Danny, you're so spot on. What pisses me off if Lacey doesn't get minutes, but Lacey doesn't play on the left. Just remember that Lacey doesn't play on the left, which is ridiculous, left-footed. But we are talking about Lacey on the right or in the 10 position. We are talking about if you're meaning Rashford on the left or up front, not in a 10 position, not on the right. Yes, he could do those. He could. He was rather shit in the 10 at Aston Villa. Barcelona never played him there. And Rashford played a handful of minutes on the right after Lamine Yamal had gone off. And I think Rashford might have even come on as his replacement. But yes, I don't want Lacey playing all pre-season and then it dropping off. Ramos says, nothing wrong with Jarvis, Danny's nor Dave's opinion. I respect it and I understand the feeling. I just want to win, man. And if Rashford can produce and help us win, I welcome it. I just want to win. We've had it before, guys. We've had it with Pogba. We had it with Jesse Lingard. We had it with Garnacho. Actually, we've had it quite a lot where players are pissed off the fan base one way or another. Dean Henderson. I'm just trying to think back now, year by year. Yap Stam. The famous one in Yap Stam and his book. Roy Keane calling out the players. Most of the fans stood by him, but the manager didn't. It happens. We don't know what goes on behind closed doors. Social media now makes it possible for that to happen because everyone seems to have an opinion on which way the wind's blowing. So that's football. The question is, for me, with Rashford coming back, what happens with Dorgu and Cunha? Are they going to step up? That's the big question. I know Cunha's got levels to go. A lot of levels to go. I know Rooney. Oh my God, Ramos. Yeah, fucking great example. Even Rooney at one point was a big jerk. When he was and he wasn't. If you've heard the whole story from Rooney, where basically he was going to leave, wasn't he? But he was going to leave because United weren't going to sign any decent players, and his contract was up. And he was like, "I don't want to stay here," and United start going backwards because that wasn't the United way, and it wasn't how he'd grown up at the club. So I stand by him. But also, he's done a lot of wrong stuff, hasn't he? The grandma, shit like that to Colleen. So, it happens. It happens a lot. And we do tend to forget about it. It's amazing what you forget when someone's doing well. And Bear mentioned there was one other player that is no longer at the club for the last few seasons, is no longer even coming back to this club in any form. Yet some of our fan base held on to him. So it does happen. I'm just trying to think where we're at, guys, really, because... But that's the... Do you know what, Dave? That's the comment of the night. That's what I try and talk about every show, every minute, every coaching session. It's about giving 100% on the pitch. If you're giving me 100, 110% on the pitch, to a degree, I don't really care what you're getting up to it off the pitch because your job's to win. I support the club. I said this in the last show. I support the club. I don't support any players. I support Manchester United getting back to the top. Manchester United winning titles. I don't support Bruno Fernandes winning titles. I don't support, Marcus Rashford winning titles. I just want 100% from my team in every game. And that's why I'm getting annoyed with these slow starts, because we're not giving 100%. We may be giving 80%, 90%, but you can't give 100 if you have a slow start. So everyone respecting Dave there on his opinion. He is so spot on. That is definitely the comment of the night. So, as I was saying, Dorgu, Cunha. I think Cunha's got a lot of levels to go. He's great running with the ball. We need to see less diving from him this year. But the way he turns, I need to see better choices. When to shoot, when not to shoot, when to pass. Dorgu has been going levels since he came back. Is someone chasing these two players down in Marcus Rashford, who they know is on the big money? Maybe behind closed doors, you're going to be saying, well, look, he's going to fucking pick Rashford over me because they're not going to pay him £350,000 a week to sit on the bench. We're saying it in the chat, so you've got to imagine that players are saying it behind closed doors, whether they're saying it to their family or just thinking it in their heads. That needs to be, he's on 350 quid a week, and I'm gonna make him look fucking stupid sat on that bench. That's your mindset. I feel Cunha could have that. I'm a little bit worried about Dorgu. Does Dorgu start thinking, I'm going to get played out of position? Fuck me, if Luke Shaw gets injured, I'm going to have to play left back. I don't want to play left back. So these are just little snippets, shall we say, that I worry about. But where do you guys stand on that? Do you think Rashford is going to help us develop Cunha and Dorgu, push them on, bring more from them? Or are you concerned that having him back is going to affect the development of a Shea Lacey, a Freight, a JJ Gabriel? Where do you stand on that, and how do you feel? I just want to see what you guys are saying. There's a lot of you watching over on X, guys. If you can just pop back over and give the video a like and hit subscribe if you're not already, that would be great. If not, don't worry, just retweet the video. Thank you very much. Jarvis says, we'll see, Mark. Rash is still a man-child for me. I agree. I do agree with that. And his attitude stinks. Gambling, women, nightclubs, his entourage, his brother, the entitlement, the list goes on. I'm not sure about the gambling. I've not heard anything about gambling. But I can guarantee you, I say this all the time, 90% of footballers pretty much do gamble. It goes hand in hand. A footballer, forget semi-professional, professional, whatever, acca. Whether you put it on or someone else puts it on for you, you're doing an acca every day. It's part and parcel of being in football. Because you love football, you love other teams. Probably the players who don't are the ones like Ben White. Or you've got a gambling problem. Or you've been busted. Jarvis says it genuinely worries him. We've come a long way since Rashford. Sorry, Jarvis, I didn't mean to yawn reading out your thing. We've come a long way since Rashford was here, and I don't want us going back. How far have we come? How far have we actually come? Yes, we're back in the Champions League. But last time Marcus Rashford was playing for the club, we were in the Champions League. We've got rid of the Garnachos and a few others. And we got back to the Champions League. But while Marcus Rashford was bombed out at Aston Villa, at Barcelona, in those 2 seasons, we finished 16th, 18th, 16th, wasn't it? We just finished above Tottenham. Well, fucking hell, we haven't come a long way with Marcus Rashford. Actually, we've dropped lower. But then last season, a lot of things changed, and yes, we're back in the Champions League. So we've come back from a poor season. Marcus Rashford wasn't there for either of that. So I get the concern, but none of that was on Rashford. Most, if anything, that was on Garnacho, breaking news early and things like that to fucking people and stuff, because we now know it was him because he done the same at Chelsea. In fact, he acted the same way at Chelsea as what was going on at Man United. So now we know who the main leaker was. We all believed it was him anyway, or his brother. But we've seen it. So Rashford is coming into a different changing room. You are right. We have come a long way. So it is a bit like, I don't know, really bad youth way to describe it. Is it like the kid that dad always beat the mum, beat the kids, and then all of a sudden that kid's got bigger. He's in his teens now, and he can hit back. Is that how what Rashford's walking into? Is he walking into a dressing room that has actually gone, do you know what? We didn't fucking need you, and now we hit back. So you fucking piss us off, you'll know about it. You'll be out of the team. So I don't know. It's intriguing. It's very, very intriguing. The Sancho, I'm not sure about Anthony, Johnny, but the Sancho, the Garnacho, is he easily manipulated? Maybe. Is he easily swayed with his brother and his family and shit like that? You got to remember, this guy lost his mummy lost or his nanny lost. His fucking girlfriend made him look stupid. And then he had a high-profile relationship with a Love Island girl, and they made him look stupid. So there's so much that's gone on in the past that's negative for him, and negativity breeds negativity. So that's why I'm just saying we'll let it go. And a lot of people forget about this because a lot of it wasn't spoken about in the media all the time. It was just like, oh, he's in Miami. Well, fucking... sorry, he's in New York. Sancho's in New York. Big news. Rashford, Sancho. Casemiro was in Miami. Someone else was somewhere else in America. I can't remember who it was, but they didn't get fucking bombarded. But then you continue to make the stupid choices and not put your head down. Well, that's the people around you. That's your family. That's your entourage. They're the people get rid of. Paul Pogba now knows that, right? Paul Pogba is the prime example to any footballer about fucking judging your entourage. And I spoke about entourages and JJ Gabriel, and he should look at Pogba. Look what his brother fucking did to him. There's your example. Where money becomes the only way of getting it, it turns you into a negative, horrible person. And shit can really get real when negativity breeds negativity, and it has that right, and the shit rolls downhill faster than anything else. Johnny says, I agree Rashford was an issue, 100%. He was not always professional. I just think the others were far worse, and while Rashford was lazy at times, equally there were times it's carried away. And also, Rashford was the biggest name and it's blown out of proportion. You know, can you imagine? We were on the show last night, and Noureddin said about he saw United players outside a kebab shop. Straight away, first name in my head, Luke Shaw. Yeah? That's negativity. That's me being brainwashed by Jose Mourinho calling him Fat Shaw and things like that, and saying he was overweight. I've matured. I know that's not the case, but then off the cuff, bang, it's still there in the back of my head, and that's what we will all have. So we will see, guys. We will see, and we will see at 7 p.m, 8 p.m. for Jarvis if he's back home. Tomorrow night, MUTV, ITV. Hopefully my tweet gets picked up with ITV tagged in it. Guys, if you are on X and you can go over to find the United Lens X, pop a follow on there. I'm not ever been massive on X, and it is a new account for the channel rather than my own personal one. So you can get the link from the main page on YouTube. Go, well, do you call it subscribing to me on X? Follow me on X. And if you can retweet my stuff, amazing. If just all of that helps. Jarvis comes in and says, let's say Rash comes back and doesn't play regularly. Is he the type of buckle down, work hard and fight for his place, or does he sulk? And what efforts could that have on the harmony of the squad? Jarvis, I'll put it up on the screen. Jarvis, as a coach, that is my biggest fear. I think you are so spot on with that. There's nothing wrong with what you're saying there at all. Because the best player deserves to play. The guy in the best form. The guy who's fighting for that shirt. The guy who gives everything, right? And that might not be Marcus Rashford. That might be Cunha. That might be Dorgu. That might be fucking one of the youngsters coming through. Pushes him out. Who knows? But it is also a test on Michael Carrick. For all of the people who wanted Carrick in, he comes in with Rashford. You can't turn around and say, oh, it's not fair on Carrick. He's got Rashford to deal with. Then deal with it. If you're going to be a manager of Manchester United, you are managed by the greatest manager of all time in Fergie. What would he have done? He would fucking go to the board and be like, get rid of him. I'm not having him have problems. Get rid of him, or we're going to lose Bruno Fernandes, or we're going to lose this guy, or we're going to lose this guy because he's going to poison them. If you use your words and you put it in the right way, people make the right decisions. The problem is our managers in the past have tried to be Billy Big Bollocks. Sometimes you don't need to be that big. Sometimes you just need to be brutal. Okay? So, Jarvis, I think you're spot on, but it's also a test on Carrick. If he wants to be a Man United manager, you're going to have to step up, because you might go out and be the next Sancho. You're going to have to deal with that. You might go out and spend 110 million on Tchouaméni and we get him out of Real Madrid, and he turns out he's fucking punching one of our players. You're going to have to deal with that. So it doesn't. We have to tar everyone with the same brush. We can't just say, oh, he's got to deal with Rashford. Because I'm sure there's other players who can get proper shitty when they're not playing. That's the be all and end all. I've never been around a club where I've taken someone's spot where I've come into a new club or I've been shitty. I remember one of my managers back in the day, Pendy, he brought 2 new strikers to the club, Luke and Danny, and he dropped me to the right wing. He goes, you're quick. You can still get into the box. I can't fucking cross. Like, what am I going to do? So I knew what I'd do. I'd get in a position, cut in. But before we inverted, I'd cut in. I can shoot with my left. I can cut in and curl one. Or I will pick the ball up and knit it from outside the box. I'll get second balls. I'll make late runs. I found a way. And the manager knew I would find a way. He believed in me. That's what Carrick's going to have to do. If Carrick believes in Rashford, he needs to believe he will find a way. Dave says, I believe right now Rashford is desperately trying for a move. Then he needs to try in every game, right? If you want to move, you play well. You've got to be scoring goals. You've got to be creating assists. If you're going to go for a trick, you've got to pull that trick off. So that's the only way you're getting a move. No one gets a move on big money by playing shit. You're going to have to play well. And that's pressure on Rashford to perform now. There was a period at Barcelona where he wasn't playing frequently, but then did find his way back into the team. Come the end of the season, we may have a different Rashford after his Barcelona spell. But, Johnny, this is where I'm going to say Jarvis is right. No, I knew what you meant, Dave. You didn't, I knew exactly what you were going for. Where Jarvis is so spot on is the reason he was frozen out at Barcelona short term was he weren't doing as he was told. He was still trying to go out around Barcelona, probably bright light big city. Barcelona is such a beautiful fucking city. You know, Gaudi's buildings. You can go around all of that. The cathedral, the mosaic buildings. You've got the Olympic villages. You've got, obviously, he knows all about the new camp and everything else that we would go to. But you got the beaches. You got the port. You got big fucking things going on there. And I think he was trying to live a lifestyle there. And then straight away it was like, you can't do that. You're Marcus Rashford. They know you're Marcus Rashford. Spanish fans aren't English fans. They'll be more respectful. I know that firsthand. They'll be more respectful, but you're still going to be hounded by paparazzi. We don't have paparazzi in the UK anymore, but in Spain you do. And he had to adapt that lifestyle, and it weren't working for him. He did. He came back in, scored important Champions League goals, and as you quite rightly say, Johnny, come the end of the season, he was there. Right, guys, I think that's pretty much going to wrap it up. I think this has been an absolutely brilliant show. It's gone places I weren't expecting. We've definitely, after the preview, I think we're on for a great game tomorrow night, which probably means we're going to get let down because it is a friendly, but in front of 82,000 Irishmen and women. I think it's going to be a great game. I want to see the biggest, strongest team we can put out. I want to see patterns of play. I want to see things we haven't seen. I want to see it. I don't think we will. Once I finish this video, and this has only hit home because Jarvis said this, so thank you, Jarvis. You said it last night. After this video, if you can just go in and give me a comment of a thumbs up, give me a comment of what you thought of it. This video becomes dead as soon as because I do long lives and I don't do recorded format. This video dies as soon as I hit end broadcast, and only comments will push it out, or if you share the video. Now, I'm not going to ask any of you to share it. Thank you if you do. Amazing. I want you to. But if you can just leave a thumbs up, something like that, it will help the algorithm pick it up. And I need to hit this 500 ASAP, and I need to get to 1,000 by the 31st of January. So you guys helping me, every little simple thing like that, giving the video an emoji, whatever, it's going to push it forward. Guys, like I said, been brilliant. Johnny, great comments. Jarvis, thank you for popping in. Dave, Danny, not sure where Ramos and Carrick disappeared to, but, thank you always there. Bilal, you were here early doors. Thank you a lot. Like Jules, you came in for United TV. Thank you for being here. And the big one I want to say thank you to, and I think we should all say thank you to him, is I am the real Daniel 777, Leeds fan. Very respectful in our chat. Said what he needs to said. He can call us plastic as much as he wants. Because let's be fair, there are plastic Man United fans. There's every kind of Man United fans. Because we are the biggest club in the world. We will be back on top one day. And those days are coming. And let's stay with that thought. Let's stay with positive thoughts, guys. You come to United Lens, like I said, don't bring me negativity. Bring me positivity. And we'll keep pushing forwards. I will see you tomorrow night. After the game, we'll do a 15-20 minute. We'll do the first scorecard of the new United Lens on the new backgrounds, and let's crack on. Let's get this season underway. Really, this is the first game of the season, isn't it? Premier League Leeds. We fucking hate Leeds. Let's go out there, batter them, and let's show them that Yorkshire is nothing, and it's all about the Lancashire. War of the Roses. Come on, the Red Rose. Catch you tomorrow night after the game. See you later, guys.